Alright guys, I am the Kodiak. Welcome back to the video. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am with the owner of the Acadia Archangels, Thomas Cullen.
Hi, Alex. It's nice to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. And I love that you're rocking the cowboy hat. I love that
Uh,
we both have these sexy cowboy hats. And today we're going to be talking about one of Tom's favorite players and one of the dudes he actually owns in our Dynasty League, DK Metcalf. So a few things about DK Metcalf. Coming out of college, he was viewed as at least bare minimum one of the top four receivers in the 2019 draft. It was between him and most scouts or teams had a mix of him and N'Keal Harry, AJ Brown, and Hollywood Brown. But yeah, DK Metcalf ends up going at the end of the second round to the Seattle Seahawks. And yeah, from there on out, it's just been wheels up. So tell us a little bit about DK Metcalf, the owner of Acadia.
all right, dude. He's 6'4", 230, freak, runs like the wind. He's
Mhm.
explosive right off the ball. Russ still has a really good relationship with Tyler Lockett, so he's not
Mhm.
seeing as many targets
Mhm.
as he would need to be as high a producer as Devontae Adams or like DeAndre Hopkins. But I mean, he and Tyler work well. They're a great fantasy duo. I
Mhm.
mean, you own Tyler, and they're just both high producers. And I love both of them.
Yeah, so the thing about the Seahawks offense is uh, their offense has been really, really good this year, but their pass defense in particular has been exceptionally bad. So that will lead to a lot of passing attempts. And DK Metcalf currently has 77 targets, which is good for 15th in the league. And I'm actually going to check Lockett's target numbers right now. I believe Lockett has more targets than DK Metcalf does. And yep, I wasn't going crazy. So Lockett has 88 targets, although those could be inflated by a good game or two. And yeah, so one of the big things that Seattle has done since they had that Super Bowl defense is play conservatively. And it doesn't really make sense to run the ball with Chris Carson 40 times a game, albeit he's a good running back, when you have Russell Wilson and a plethora of weapons. But this offseason, they said, screw that. We're going to let Russ fire it all over the field. So basically, what do you think makes the Seahawks offense just so explosive between the two of these guys that Russ can throw to?
I mean, well, firstly, Russ just has that great connection with Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Like they communicate well. Like Tyler runs routes well.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler's just like overall, he's a really good athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that DK's newer and he's still like learning the system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the route running for him is something that once he learns, he'll just be a completely different animal, like than he already is. I mean, he's already a freak. Like look at
Mm-hmm.
him. He's, I mean, whatever he gets, man, he just turns into, you know, like twice of what it should be. Like he's just a freak.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what he lacks in that experience, he more than makes up in just raw potential and physical ability. He's
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, dude, he's just a monster.
He is a
He's
demon.
so big and he's so fast.
Wait,
It's
what do you say
ridiculous.
DK stands for?
Dude, he's the Demon King because he's a freak, dude. He's beyond. I don't I don't know, man. He's a monster. Like
Yeah.
he's just out of this world,
Yep.
you know.
So Demon King Metcalf. So coming into the 2019 season, and he was going into the 2019 draft, he had a very, very insane combine. And there was also that picture of him with his shirt off that I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody has seen by now. He's right next to AJ Brown in that picture, and they just both look ripped out of this world. But yeah, so as far as the combine itself, he ran a 4.33 at 228 pounds. As far as player profiler, his speed score is 133.3, which is in the 99th percentile. Burst score is 135.9 in the 97th percentile, which means he's pretty explosive. His agility score sucks because his three cone time at the combine was really, really bad. But, he more than makes up for it. He has a limited route tree, and a lot of teams didn't think he could be good in the NFL because he, obviously lacked that lateral agility. Maybe his foot got caught in the turf or something. But yeah, there were a lot of questions as to if he would become a legitimate route runner in the NFL. And as far as his catch radius, it's 10.27. There's no combine metric for that. The player profiler just kind of throws it out there. So as far as opportunities, so like I said, the Seahawks, their pass defense is exceptionally bad. And what have they done this year? Basically more than anyone. All they've done is thrown the ball. So DK Metcalf has 21 deep targets, which is second in the league, 10 red zone targets, which is 12th in the league. And as far as air yards, so yeah, how many yards the ball goes in the air when Russ is throwing to him, it's 112.7 per game, which is third in the league. So owner of Acadia Archangels, King Tom Cullen, what makes DK so hard to guard when Russ is saying, hey, DK's down there somewhere, and just says, fucking chuck it?
Well, I mean, let's just break it down piece by piece. Firstly, the height, man. He's huge. He's like 6'3", 6'4". The wingspan's huge. I mean, not even just the height, man. He's built. If you look at his body, and that back to what you were saying earlier about the combine thing, dude, the man looks like he just eats steel for breakfast. Like his body is like out of this world. It's literally not fair. Like he would walk into a bodybuilding competition and win, and that's not even a sport. Like he's just a freak. Then that's just his build. Like there was some clip I saw of it was like after the play, someone was still going pretty fast, and they weren't able to slow down, and they just hit him and just like bounced off of him. Like he's just a freak. That's an NFL player. I'm a pretty big guy, and I would have gotten decked. Then let's go to the speed. So, dude, 4.3, 340. Dude, he's a freak. At 6'4", 228 pounds, what are you gonna do? Like, it's like from that science problem. Like, what do you do with what's gonna win? An immovable object or an unstoppable force? He is that unstoppable force. Like, you know what I mean? He's a monster. There's nothing else to it.
He is a monster, and like I'm sure you all remember that game against Arizona the Seahawks had week 6 or 7. Russ basically threw the game away, but the one thing I remember from that game is Buda Baker intercepting Russell Wilson, and then DK Metcalf runs a total of 92 yards to chase down Buda Baker, who's running as fast as humanly possible. And DK Metcalf just basically says, no, you're not scoring. And then, he runs Buda Baker all the way down, gets a chase down tackle, and his effort on the field is absolutely incredible as well. So as far as his typical stats this year, he's number 5 in receiving yards, number 2 in completed air yards, number 9 in yards after catch as far as his ranking among NFL players. And these are all available on Player Profile for you to check out. So as far as his efficiency, if you're fantasy guys like we are, you know that efficiency is a very, very big part of determining how good or how bad a player is. 18 yards per reception, which is 10th in the league, 11.2 yards per target, and then 2.3 yards per route run, which is pretty damn good in itself. And his estimated points added is 58.7. Now, what this means is if DK Metcalf was just completely off the Seahawks, let's take him out of the equation, we can't really tell how good or how bad the Seahawks offense would be without him, but we can at least try to guess, and they'd be 58.7 points worse, and in a very competitive NFC West, every point matters. So what about this dude makes him just a demon for fantasy?
I would say that he's not always the most dependable fantasy asset. Just if you look at the Rams game, he did get locked up by Ramsey, and he only put up, I think it was like 4 points that week.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to take that with a grain of salt, man. Not everyone's going to kill it every week. There's like if you look at the Bucs defense, man, like no one's getting around that. It's just there's a few inescapables in the league, you know.
Yeah.
But the weeks that he does get targets, and that he does get targets pretty frequently. But the weeks that he's playing the DK we know, which is most weeks, getting like at least 16, usually 19, a couple of weeks above 20. One week he had 40. Like, that's ridiculous for 22-year-old, 23-year-old sharing the backfield with, what is it, like wide receiver 3?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they're both top 5 wide receivers this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, for him to do that while sharing targets with someone like that, that's insane. Like that's, he's got to be a freak. You got to understand, man.
Yeah, he is a freak. So we're big on Dynasty. So as far as DK Metcalf, I don't think there's a single player in the NFL, or at least wide receiver, that if I was starting a Dynasty team right now, or even a real NFL team right now, I don't think there's a single player I would take, or a single wide receiver at least, that I would take over DK Metcalf. Maybe the only other two for me would be AJ Brown and Terry McLaurin. I am more than confident we will end up talking about those guys sooner or later as well. You, who do you prefer? Yeah, you got AJ Brown, so you want to say a few things between DK or AJ Brown?
Well, actually, I want to talk about all 3 of them, dude. That trio it's beautiful, man. I've hounded Alex for weeks to trade me Terry McLaurin, just because he's so good, man. Like, they feed him well, and he acts on those targets because he's just fast, and he's a good player. I love AJ Brown, man. If you haven't been watching AJ Brown, I mean, you should. He's just got rockets in his legs. Like, he is just freaking quick, man.
Yak machine, yak monster.
I mean, especially having to share with like Derrick Henry, who's just target monster. Like, run. He gets how many plays a game, man? He's a freak. Like Derrick Henry is also, he's another physical freak, man. But I love AJB, man. The Ole Miss boys, DK and AJB. You saw them at the combine together, man, just looking absolutely enormous. And both of them are just as quick as the wind, man. They're just both so fast. And they both have great quarterback situations too. I mean, Tannehill is on off, but I'm confident in his ability to be at least on a scale of like bad to elite. I would say he's good, almost great.
All right, so coming into the NFL, DK Metcalf's route tree at Ole Miss was very limited, and I think that was a combination of him being not agile, as we were able to see by that atrocious 3-cone time, and by the fact that he was criminally misused at Ole Miss. Because if you have DK Metcalf and AJ Brown on your roster, I would think you'd be able to do at least something. I'm not saying win the fucking natty, but I think you'd be able to do at least something with that duo of wide receivers. And if you look at all his routes last year, he only ran like 4 or 5 that I would assume that he was super comfortable with, because I wouldn't put it past Pete Carroll to use him correctly. So yeah, they probably had him run 4 or 5 routes that he was actually comfortable with. And this year, his route tree has expanded a little bit, but it's still more of the same. Like, he's not a guy who will, run all these fancy posts, cook you with outs, or do anything that requires a lot of lateral agility or cutting. And Tyler Lockett's route tree, looks like my name when I try to sign it in cursive. It's just all over the damn place. But yeah, we got any last thoughts about DK Metcalf before we leave? Thomas Cullen, owner of Acadia.
I mean, dude, he belongs in Acadia because he's a freaking demon, dude. He's so fast, man. I just love him. I'm getting a DK jersey this year. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, and he has garnered my love for just he's a monster. Like, what do you want me to say, dude? Like, he is a fantasy freak. Like, he's a fantasy demon. I would say right now, the only other wide receivers that I like in the same tier as DK are, I like AJ Brown and Terry McLaurin, but I would put them, like, if DK is a 99, I would put them at like a 96, 96 and a half. And then I'd put Devontae Adams at 100, just because he is. I mean, if you haven't been paying attention, dude, Devontae Adams, he is definition of wide receiver this year. Like, he is just going insane. I mean, Rodgers is a good quarterback. That's a great situation. And the running back injuries help because they have to feed him more, you know. But dude, he's just a Damon. Like, he's a fantasy Damon. He's just racking up points, man. Yeah. I would say, I don't know. I think he could be a top 10 all-time wide receiver. We'll see. I mean, that's a potential. You never know. But
Yeah, we'll see
I love
that.
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that's a high bar to clear. But yeah, that is going to do it for the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Twitter and follow Tom on Twitter. Links will be in the description below. Anyways, guys, have a good day and peace out.